There's a real issue around skills, reskilling, and talent. I'm very hopeful that some of these new technologies are going to be helpful in that process.
Hello and welcome to another video. Once again, I wanted to highlight some of the key takeaways from the conversation with the Microsoft CEO at Davos 2023. And this one in particular is about how artificial intelligence can be used to solve some of the talent problem many organizations are having today, which is, basically about training, retraining, and upskilling of their workforce. And we already know that artificial intelligence is one of the world's most essential technologies today, with the hype around ChatGPT. And AI was already at work in our daily lives even before the huge leap with platforms like ChatGPT. AI was already influencing everything in our lives, from search results to driving to shopping and even dating, right? And so AI is continuing its steady rise and starting to have a sweeping impact across different industries. And so upskilling and reskilling of employees is a top priority for organizations today. And instead of employees going back to school for a 3-year degree program or anything of that nature, organizations can build AI systems or maybe make use of already existing AI platforms and use these to retrain and upskill their workforce much faster and cheaper. Because the idea that a universal training program or a university training program or a time-consuming training program is the only way to reskill employees is outdated. Adopting digital learning platforms or even incorporating trainings into daily work systems can make the reskilling process much more convenient for employees. And so AI-powered platforms can facilitate the rapid learning of complex software and provide, for example, brief 5 to 10 minute micro-learning sessions into employees' daily workflow. And in that way, they don't have to abandon work altogether to go back to school, So that is one way in which AI can actually help solve the problem of reskilling and make it much faster and much cheaper. And so to the point he's making about technology solving the talent crisis, I think that is really a valid point, in my opinion. And he went further to discuss other ideas around the future of work, artificial intelligence, and even loyalty when it comes to organizations. So take a listen.
There's a real issue around skills, reskilling, and talent. I'm very hopeful that some of these new technologies are going to be helpful in that process. What I mean by that is, I gave you already that example of Andrij Karpathy and him using GitHub Copilot, and as an elite AI developer getting assistance from a Copilot. But the same thing is true for a first-line worker using, say, one of our tools like Power Platform, to be able to use a natural language prompt to do some workflow automation. So think about this. This is someone who's in the front line, who has domain expertise but doesn't have IT skills, is able to now do IT tasks. That's one way for us to, in some sense, bridge the talent gap. Yeah. So I think that you're pointing, in fact, even the rebalancing of even software engineering talent. In fact, if you think about it, then it was actually 2 years ago that the number of software engineers that are being hired outside of what is considered the tech industry is higher than in the tech industry. So that means going forward, we will have more of the digital skills spread much more evenly across the economy. And that's a good thing, right? Because we need that. We need them in agriculture, we need them in banking, we need them in healthcare, we need them in education.
We spoke about the global collaboration village, and I mentioned we have 80 companies behind, and we have a permanent exchange of ideas. And one let's say, conviction came out that the metaverse will be a tremendous will provide us with new capabilities, particularly in education. Would you agree?
100%, because in some sense, if you look at, there are two, in fact, if you sort of combine the two technologies that I think people are talking about, take metaverse and take AI. If you put these two things together, what does that mean? Like, it means that you can now help people learn with other people together, collaborate across space and time, and most importantly, something like a co-pilot being there to help even diagnose the conceptual mistakes a student is making right when they make it, and then help them overcome that. I think so. I think this notion of collaboration and learning together is where I think we can make a real leap forward.
I think one of the reasons why, let's say, this annual meeting is a success is not only working together, but it's the serendipity effect. But if you do it in the virtual world, let's say again in the global collaboration village, you can build in the serendipity with artificial intelligence into the system. So you know exactly who is the best in order to help you to solve your own problem.
That's right. That's right. In fact, one of my favorite features, even in in the products we've recently built, is whenever you want to research a topic, it doesn't just tell you the answer to the topic, but it tells you the people that you should connect with. And that ability to know whom to talk to learn more as something that is, I think, as important as learning more.
And you can build it in.
That's right.
Now, we are running out of time, but I would like to come back to one question which we also touched upon last time. It is the future of work. And there's a lot of discussion about remote work, and I think you and your company has been very, let's say, engaged into discussions about this issue. What is your learning from those discussions, and what are your recommendations?
I think that the key observation I'd make is we're still learning, because there's been real structural change. I don't think we can just say we'll go back to 2019, nor can we say we're going to live like as if it is 2020, if you will. So therefore, there is real new patterns of work emerging. There are three trends that we are observing, Klaus, which I think are, to me at least, are guiding even our own set of decisions. So the first is, there is what I'll characterize as this productivity paranoia, right? Which is every leader thinks that somehow they're not being productive, but there is everybody who's working in the organization feels burnt out. So there is that debate as to who is true and what is the truth. And so therefore, I would say more data, less dogma will be a good way to sort of end that debate. And in other words, at the end of the day, organizations have to be productive. There's no question. The outcomes matter. And the question is, instead of being dogmatic about the way to achieve the outcome, we should sort of focus on the outcome and then rediscover perhaps new patterns of successful work. So that's one. The second thing I would say is we're also learning that people come for other people, not because somebody set policies. So people don't come for policy, but people will come for people. And if you buy that, then I think we all have to even learn many new soft skills, right? Convening, calling a meeting versus convening an event. Two different things. Because you set, like when you do convene an event, you set so much more context, you market it, you help people have a successful event. Whereas meetings, sometimes you go in unprepared, you don't worry about what the consequences of that are and what have you. So I think we all have to learn, be much more deliberate, learn a lot of soft skills so that people-to-people connections are really forming, because that's, I think, very important for social capital. The last thing I'd even say is, it will be very important for us not to take for granted that the people who work in our organization are all connected to the company's mission or the organization's mission. And so re-recruiting, training. In fact, one data point we observed is unless and until people feel fulfilled in their jobs in terms of new skills that they're acquired, they're not going to have loyalty to the organization. So us really investing in their progress inside of the job and the sense of accomplishment, I think, are going to be important. So tools and technologies are there, but I would say new management practice and sensibility is perhaps what we will all have to develop.
In this context, you just used the word loyalty. How would you describe loyalty of an employee towards Microsoft?
No, look, I think at the end of the day, I always say the most important thing is for people to sort of think of who are working at Microsoft is they should think of Microsoft as a platform to be able to connect with our mission to achieve what's core to them. I think that's the social equation. I think the loyalties only exist if Microsoft as a platform is helping them achieve what they want to achieve. It's sort of not something that we take for granted. It's something that we have to earn as an organization by giving people a platform.
So